Alright, you guys ready? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God has given me many gifts and abilities. It is my responsibility to use them and not waste them. My outlook on life is a choice, not a reaction. I will make my world a better place for myself and those around me. I will do my best not to make a comment out of ignorance. October and January and the spring. The world is not a satellite of myself. I'll be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Just as somebody calls me a tree doesn't make me wood. I'll do my best because I expect your best. I'll be dependent on things that don't concern you. When I get ready to do that. Let us know. Let's grade the quiz real quick. Everybody got it, right? Everybody's done this? We're going to review today. We'll grade this quiz, and that's kind of like a review. What's the chance you get over there? Huh? Right, I watched that. Start with the one about what branch did veto bills. Everybody good? Everybody found it? If it's not number one, what you got? 12. All right. What branch can veto bills? Executive.
Oh.
Veto bills. President vetoes bills. So that's the executive. What branch can approve presidential appointments? Legislative. The Senate does that. When the courts declare an action of government unconstitutional. Judicial review. What is the Constitution?
What if they just put judicial?
Judicial minus 3. Look at what? No, that's not true. What does the Constitution do for you? Protects your rights. That's great. That's fantastic. What does the Constitution not do for you? Doesn't give you rights. What law deals with lawsuits, divorce? Civil. Civil. What law deals with punishment of crimes? Criminal.
What was it?
Criminal punishment of crimes. Civil is divorce and child custody lawsuits. What branch can utilize judicial review? Judicial. Thomas Jefferson published separation of church and state in a letter. If you're formally charged with a crime, the grand jury can what? Indict you. That would mean you're having a trial. There will be a trial if you're indicted. What's acquittal mean? No trial. They quit. No trial. Separation of church and state.
What branch can utilize judicial review?
Judicial.
What if they put judicial? What if they put judicial plus X?
Minus 4. I'll give them. Yeah, acquittal is quit, no trial. Indictment means you're in trouble, there'll be a trial. What branch can override a veto? Legislative. Legislative gets to try to undo that. They can override it. We do 2 things to elect a president. We got popular vote, and we've got electoral votes. Popular vote. Congress, no. Congress does not vote. They can vote for the president, but they don't pick the president.
So is it not off?
Yes, minus 3 if they missed one of them. Popular vote, we vote for them, and then electors vote for them. The Federalist Papers were written to support and defend the Constitution. Some of your civil rights are written out in the Constitution. You might miss that.
What was the one before that?
Bill of Rights is fine.
Declaration of Independence.
The Federalists, I would accept that. I'll take that. If they put Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, Constitution, any of that's fine. You may miss it, because I don't want, that's a dumb question. Anybody missed it, don't count it wrong. It's a dumb
They
question.
said every human being has rights.
Okay, that's fine. Don't count anything wrong on that one. Bless you. How many amendments were sent out to the states? 12. What you got? What's that? What?
What if they put 10?
Minus 4. What's the protections and rights of accused persons? Due process. Due process.
They put civil rights.
Minus 2. Put due process. That's not, because that doesn't have to do with it. It's 1 minus 3. We limit individuals' rights in order to what? Protect all rights. Protect all rights. Anybody put something different?
What?
Minus 3. That's right. Yes, that's right. Those are, we'll say 5 points apiece. Pass it back to the person that owns it.
You passed. That's good. That's good. Right,
That's right. Turn around real quick. Good up.
Yeah, somehow.
All right, let me give you all this little review sheet. Next time you see me a little bit, remind me to do my drill. Do my drill.
And Coach Ron, when you plug it in, it's not like- I think it's still recording.
Yeah.
It's just really dark.
All right, so let me give you this. Little review sheet. There's nothing new on here. How am I going to ask the checks and balances on the test? What's all that for? Anybody? How's that? How am I going to ask the checks and balances? I'm going to have the statement. With the blank at the first and blank on the end. What's the blank at the first going to be for? Who does it? Who's doing this thing? And the second one is, who's it being done to? So, if I write this down, of course it ain't gonna work.
Okay, I saw this thing today.
Yeah.
It was, it said that nobody's actually taken, like pictures aren't allowed inside a judicial court.
Yes.
There's only been 2 pictures ever taken. and
Inside the Supreme Court, yes.
It was one through a cast in an arm, one through a hand bag.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
looks weird.
There's no video, there's no camera, they don't even take notes while they're discussing stuff. It's just very selective, very, yeah. I think that picture's like from the 30s or something long, yeah.
Hey, why can't there be pictures taken?
They just don't.
So how do they know what it looks like?
Right, just if you've been in there.
That's kind of cool. Good question.
Yeah. Okay, blank can veto bills. Executive does that to who? Legislative. What gives that away? Who writes the bills? Legislative. So the executive vetoes the bills. Can override. I misspelled it. Presidential vetoes. Who does that? Legislative. Who's that done to? Executive. That gives you the answer, right? Who can approve judicial nominees? Legislative gets to do that, because who picks it? The executive. Who's it done to? Judicial. Yeah, might as well. Three things going on. The New York Times reported Sunday all this information on President Trump's tax returns for like the last 15 years or so. I think something I heard was most years he didn't pay income tax. Other years he paid like $700. Put the president's name in there, whoever, Barack Obama, President Trump, President Bush, President Reagan, President Clinton. Number one, I couldn't care less. That's the IRS's business. Second thing is, it may or may not be true, I don't know. Third thing is, taxes are, just because you're rich doesn't mean you pay a lot in taxes. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you pay nothing in taxes. If you have the right write-offs, if you have the right deductions, you're going to pay completely different amounts in taxes. We got a jacked up system. What we need is a flat tax where everybody pays 10%, 15%, 20% of what they make. And then you know up front, here's how much if you're a hundredaire, you pay 10%. If you're a billionaire, you pay 10%. That's the only way to make it fair. So I don't know about that one.
Well, how would they get a hold of this? I mean, that's not just open to the public.
I don't know.
Somebody-
You can look at mine if you want. But, a lot of presidential candidates do disclose their financial information. I don't know, it's not a have-to thing, just some do. That doesn't bother. Whether someone does or not, that doesn't mean anything to me. Here's the thing, if you love President Trump, does that mean anything to you? No. If you hate President Trump, does that mean anything to you? You're gonna say, well, no kidding, I knew that already. This is not, I mean, think about this election. I don't think you're swaying a lot of people with a lot of stuff. You're either voting for him or you hate him. There's really not a whole lot of middle ground in Maryland. I wonder if there's not like, I think there's like 15 people wondering who they're gonna vote for this time. I don't know, I gotta wait though. There's a debate Thursday. Is it Thursday? No, Tuesday. There's a debate Tuesday. Sometimes debates are useful, sometimes they're worthless. I don't know what this will be. Depends on the questions, depends on how the moderator handles things. I like debates. I like debates where you don't know the questions up front. I mean, they know some of the questions. I like questions where you just ask a question and they have to respond to it. Because that tells you a lot about the person or what they're going to do. Also, this lady that was picked for Supreme Court Justice. What's the controversy about her? What's the huge controversy about her? No, she's not an atheist.
She's
She's a very strong Catholic, which is a huge problem. That's a huge problem that she has very strong religious beliefs. That was a huge problem in 1960 when they were voting on JFK because they were worried the Pope was going to control the president. You know, I don't know, but she has religious beliefs. Is that okay? Is it okay if she doesn't have religious beliefs? It's okay, whatever, you know. But that's the big controversy. She actually is a strong Catholic and has a strong religious belief. I think she even reads the Bible. And for half the country, that's a huge problem. You can't do that. So, anyway. Here we go. Where are we at?
It said that since it takes it's 57 days from election or something like that.
Mhm.
It takes an average of 70 days to get one approved. That it's not going to do that.
Well, here's what's going on in the Senate. The Senate gets to look at them. The old rules used to be you have to get 60 votes to pass a person for the Supreme Court. When the Democrats were in power several years ago, they changed the rules to where it just takes 51 votes because they didn't want the Republicans to be able to block what they were doing. So they changed the rules in the Senate. Now they're upset. Be careful if you're the party in power that you try to make it like it so it's you. I mean, sometimes it can come back to bite you. I don't know how long it is. I mean, they'll interview her. 51 of the Senate, there's 53 Republicans. 51 of them have said they'll vote for her. If they all stay in the pasture, then it's a done deal. All right, who can, let's see, can declare stuff unconstitutional? That's right. Judicial can do that to who? Or either one. Executive or legislative. If I can declare a law unconstitutional, who's that kind of pointed towards? Legislative, but I would accept it executive. Or if it says something the president does. That would be, oh, that's dumb. Right, why don't y'all say that? Idiot, Ron. Judicial does that. Right? If it says president, then it's the executive. If it says something, a law, I would take either one. Okay? Let me confuse you there. Who can impeach? The legislative has the power to impeach. Legislative can impeach. If they say impeach a judge, who's that done to? Judicial. What if it says a president or a vice president? Executive. You see how this first part is not hard? But I promise you, I'm going to have a bunch of people put the wrong answers here. Here's what it's going to look like. Do I have a copy of it? Just like this. It's got the statement, blank in front, blank in the back. The blank in front is doing it. The blank in the back, I don't think you can see that. The blank in the back, it's being done too. Does that make some sense? So good. A writ of habeas corpus. It is literally habeas. I don't know how to spell that. I'll never ask you. I did? Wow. Writ means a document. A writ of habeas corpus means if you're arrested, you have to be brought before a judge pretty soon to see if it was okay for you to be arrested. That's one of your due process rights. So I'm going to ask you, tell me what a writ of habeas corpus means. Was it okay to arrest you? If not, what's going to happen? You're set free. If it is, now they move on. Present the body. Corpus is body. Now let's look at the First Amendment. Tell me the rights in the First Amendment. We got religion. What are your two religious rights?
Can't be forced on.
Not be forced. What's another big fancy word that we said meant to be forced on you? It's actually in the Constitution. Congress is not going to establish a religion that's forced on you, and it cannot be kept from you. Let me say something controversial. I want to say something controversial. It'll be out there for the world. Isn't it awesome when the chance of getting fired is like sitting right there? Isn't that cool? That's so exhilarating. Look at this. Can't be forced on you. Can't be kept from you. I make my decisions. I am not. You don't have to argue with me on this a little bit. I'm not perfect. You don't have to argue. Okay? I blow it all the time. But my goal is to make my decisions based on what God says, on His Word. That's my goal. So there's something, if I make my decisions, I blow it. I'm an idiot. I'm going to make my decisions based on what I feel like. Is it good for human beings to make their decisions based on what they feel like? Is that going to, in the long run, like, am I going to eat this candy? If I feel like it, I am. You know, am I going to do this? Am I going to? If I'm basing what I do on my decisions, more often than not, it's going to be 5-year-olds. And they make good decisions. No, basically we're 5-year-olds. We're just old 5-year-olds. But if my decision is based on something else of authority, and I refer to that and say, should I be doing this or should I make this decision? That's hopefully. That's what everybody's mad about this lady, that she's going to make her decisions based on what God's Word says, not on what she feels like is right. If I'm doing what I feel like, I'm probably going to sleep with all kinds of people. That ain't the way the world works. That ain't how it's made to work. I know some of y'all think that's exactly how the world works. That is how the world works. That ain't how it's supposed to work. That's why that's why that causes all kinds of problems. You know, if everybody lives like what the Bible says, there's very little problem. But nobody does that. There's no sexually transmitted diseases. Huh. The world. Isn't that awesome? No AIDS. No nothing. If everybody does what the Bible says, you ain't got to deal with that. It'll work. One less thing. Isn't that awesome? I don't want to do that. Great. Fantastic. Good luck. All right, speech. You have freedom of speech. You can say or do whatever you want, as long as you don't infringe other people's rights, and you have no right to not be offended. What goes along with your freedom of speech that nobody remembers? You have freedom of speech, but there are consequences.
And you have no right not to be offended. So why do you get in trouble for offending someone?
I don't know.
If I call someone a name and I start crying.
Okay, right. Okay, but no, there might be consequences to your saying that. In college government, we talked about like fighting words and stuff, where you can get in legal problems if they can prove you knowingly did something to on purpose cause a certain type of reaction. Now, where you work, where you go to school, they may make decisions that they may make whatever. You know what I'm saying? There might be that. There might be this, but you. In reality, like there's gonna be schools I could work at that if I said Jesus Christ died for you, they would fire me on the spot. You know. But that's not what the Constitution is talking about. All right, the press. Describe the press in America. Newspapers, information centers. What do they have? What are they? They are free, right? They are not censored. They are free. And what are they free to do? Report the truth. Now, what they do has to be true. It might be part of the story. Might not be. It's never going to be the whole story. But they are free to report the truth. The whole story is not constitutionally required. You just have to report the truth. Is it true that the New York Times reported Donald Trump's income tax? I think 10 out of 15, he didn't pay taxes. Other years he paid like $700. Is that report, is me saying that true? Me saying they reported that is true. I would hope, based on what they've got, that is the truth. They could be in big, big trouble. So I don't think the New York Times is going to throw something out there unless they've got some kind of proof. You know what I'm saying? They're not just some third grade kid trying to make a 90 on some paper or something. And then assembly and petition. You can get together and gripe. And how would you describe your First Amendment rights in one phrase? You just did it. You can. Say or do. Whatever you want. As long as you don't infringe on other people's rights, you have no right to not be offended. There will be consequences. There might be. There will be. Like if you say in class that if everybody based their decisions on the Bible, things would work out a lot better. There might be consequences to that. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. I might have an opportunity to find a job. Okay. In America, rule book, refs, players, coaches. What is the rule book? Constitution. What does a rule book do? Yeah. Tells you what can be done, what can't be done, what has to be done. It tells you the way the game is supposed to be played. That's the rule book. I will ask you tomorrow to explain these. I'll put this up there. Explain what these are and tell me why they're that. They're confused. Why is the Constitution the rule book? It tells what government can and can't do. It tells government how it's supposed to play the game. Who are the refs? That's the judicial branch. Because they are the ones who interpret what the Constitution says. Bless you. They tell us what the Constitution says. Do we have to like what they say about the Constitution? No. How many days of law school have I been to? 0. Okay, I've looked at the Constitution. I've read it. I think I kind of know some things about it. But I am by no means as big as authority as a Supreme Court justice. That's their life. Who are the players? Elected officials. They go in the game, and they're the ones who play. Here's the coaches. The people. We put them in, and we tell them the plays to run. If they don't do it, whose fault is it? Mine. Yep. What does the Constitution do? It does give you rights, right? It does not give you rights. It does protect your rights. I'm going to ask you what it does and what it doesn't do. It protects your rights. It does not give you rights. It does not give you rights. Look at y'all's Constitution page. Or not Constitution, amendment page. It can be the one I gave you or the ones you wrote. I will have 10 amendments on the back of this text. It'll say Ninth Amendment, and in parentheses it'll say other rights. What's the Ninth Amendment say? You got other rights that are not in the Constitution. I'm going to ask you to, I'll say Ninth Amendment, other rights. Tell me what your Ninth Amendment, what the Ninth Amendment's about. It's just about you have other rights aren't in the Constitution.
Is that like you can wear purple shirt?
Yeah, you can wear a purple shirt, eat Chinese food. If I have the 14th Amendment, and I have in parentheses citizenship, how would you describe the 14th Amendment?
Tells you what you are a citizen.
Tells who can be a citizen, who's not a citizen, what it means to be a citizen. if I say 23rd Amendment, Washington DC? What's that one? 3 electoral votes. Gives Washington DC 3 electoral votes. 20th Amendment, inauguration, presidential inauguration.
March 6th.
Moved it to January 20th. I don't even care if you know March 6th. 20th Amendment, you know, does that make sense? I'm gonna give you little hints. If you understand, I don't care the 20th, 12th, I just care you know what's in there. So I'll give you a little hint. Another example here. 12th, vice president. What's going on there? The president can pick the vice president instead of being the second place person. Now the toughest one on there, which really isn't tough. 10th Amendment, state reserve powers. There's 2 lists, and those 2 lists tells the federal government, here's what you get to do. You get to write in blue pen. It means y'all can't write in blue pen. Y'all can't write in red. So what colors can y'all write in? Anything besides blue and red. So it tells the federal government what you can't do. No, stop, Rob. Stop talking, Godzilla. It tells the federal government what it can do. It tells states what it can't do. States have everything else. States are over anything else that comes up. How does the federal government get around that? Yes, ma'am. Are you stretching? How does the federal government get around that? How do they control the states? Right. They'll tell the states, Texas, here's $5 billion for your highways. If you want it, you need to do this, this, this. Does Texas have to do it? No. But if they want that money, they will. Something wrong with that. You don't have to do this. But if you want to eat, you can go eat yourself. You can go make a roof over yourself. I mean, you can do all that. That's fine. Just remember the words of Colt Ryle. Being an adult is, I hate being an adult. It's horrible. It is. It's awful. If you want supper, you got to go find it. You got to get it. There may not be nothing there. You can't make it pop up. So does that make sense on the amendments? I'll just have a hint there, and just tell me what it is, how that explains it. I will ask you to explain the First Amendment rights. There's 5 things in there. Just tell me a little bit about it, like we just did. What does the Constitution do to the government? It limits the government. It tells it what it can and can't do. The purpose of the Constitution is to control and limit the government. All right, we got 3 branches. All right. What's the 3 branches? I would expect you, before you got in this room, to be able to tell me those 3 branches. What's the 3 branches? Anyway, I ask you to tell me what they do. Writes the laws. Yeah, writes bills. What does the executive do? Okay, carries these out. Once they become a law, it's the executive branch's job, like the healthcare law, when it was passed, the Department of Health and Human Services, which was inside the executive branch, carried out that law. Their job is to carry out those laws, make sure they're done. And what's the job of the judicial branch? Interpret what those laws mean and how they're used. Legislative branch writes those laws. Executive branch carries out the laws. Judicial branch interprets the meaning of the laws and how they're supposed to be used. Okay. What's due process? It is the rights of anybody accused of a crime. If you're arrested, these rights kick in. Like Lincoln said, it's the things that can be done the things that can't be done, and things that have to be done. What's one thing we know of today we talked about that has to be done if you're arrested? Okay, that's true. Miranda right. Habeas corpus. That has to happen. You have to be brought before a judge. That's part of your due process. That's one of the first things. You gotta read your rights in the language you understand. Things can, can't, and have to be done if you're arrested. Anybody arrested is guaranteed due process rights. If not, if some of this stuff, what if something's done to you that can't be done? What will happen probably? That case gets thrown out, or you can't use that evidence. Or this guilty person may go free because things weren't done right. The I's weren't dotted and the T's weren't crossed. What's the purpose of the ACLU? American Civil Liberties. Protect American citizens' rights. It's a group of lawyers, and if they accept your case for free, they will represent you. And their job, their mission of this group is to protect Americans' civil liberties, civil rights. What do they do? They will sue. They'll sue individuals. They will sue companies. They will sue governments on your behalf if they accept your case. Okay. Anybody got any questions? There you go.